Many military sexual trauma survivors liken sexual assault more to incest due to the military family culture they live within each day. How should healing be addressed differently in these situations? That's an interesting question. And again, what I'm going to suggest is if you are following the protocol that we suggest you follow, and you've got them well oriented, and you've done a good job of the psychoeducation so they can recognize changes in their own physiology, then they're in a place where they can tackle this. But if you come at this from an emotional point of view, the likelihood of being very successful at this is pretty poor. And a lot of folks that I've talked to over the last 15 years or so, as the sexual trauma in military has, increased and become more obvious and visible to everybody, the response that I see is they're not getting good trauma therapy, and so they don't tend to prosper very well. And people want to do things like EMDR with them, and they want to do cognitive behavior therapy with them. Therapy is inappropriate until they're stable enough to be able to begin that process. Well, again, it's the same steps. Orient them well, educate them well, help them be able to regulate their own body, and then you can move through the resolution phase regardless of what their history is, regardless of the kind or type of trauma or distress that they've experienced. The idea that we have to have a specialized subunit of treatment for these folks just further stigmatizes them. It makes it more and more difficult for them to get good care because we think, well, to really help them, I have to have some kind of subspecialty in that. And the reality is you just need to be very good at the basics. And if you're very good at the basics, you're going to find that you are going to do pretty well with these folks. And there are some just incredibly talented, bright folks, both male and female, that have had sexual assaults in the military. And, it is a legitimate trauma to them. Often it's not the only trauma. That's the other piece, is you cannot assume that it is the only thing that keeps their system aroused. There's the fear of disclosure. There's the fear of their fellow, their peers being judgmental of it. There's, their own kind of, why didn't I protect myself better? Why did I put myself in that? There's so many things rattling around in there that if they aren't well regulated, it doesn't matter what approach you use, it's not going to work well.